was sarcastic. But Edwin said to me while this was not playing. Welcome to episode 13, unlucky number 13 of Cinema Curse. I'm your wicked game master, Connor Lloyd Crews, and joining me, as usual, is the Joey Chestnut of talking about movies, Edwin Gomez, who I will let introduce what we're talking about tonight.
Hello, folks. Hello, America. I'm reporting live from UCLA, California. I went to Cinephile to rent some pictures, trying to find some food in the process, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about some great motion pictures, a franchise, a series about one of the greatest horror movies of all time. I'm talking about Richard Franklin's Psycho 2, and also Anthony Perkins' directorial debut, Psycho 3, and also the sad and tried remake of Psycho,
and
directed
Psycho 4.
Oh, and Psycho 4, which went straight to TV, and also Gus Van Sant's poor attempt in Psycho. So yeah.
Well, that's it. And also joining us is rejoining
is Brian, and I have not seen anything other than the original Psycho. And I'm just really here to see if Edwin gets arrested. Once again, that's all I'm looking to do. Is just really, I'm here to see what happens with Edwin.
Hey man, they can't take me out, man. I'm indestructible, man.
He is.
Plus, a bear has joined us.
Hello, that's me. I'm the bear. That's my the thing. I've seen none of the Psychos except for the '98 remake I watched last night. That's all I got.
And what should we refer to you as?
Just call me Faf.
All right. Okay.
What the fuck is a fab?
That's his name. That's his nickname.
At the fab, the ba, ka, ra. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anymore.
I don't either, to be honest.
I'm lost, man. I'm lost.
Same. I was going to say, thank you to Marina Sakamoto and her band Shunkin for the use of their song Curse off of the EP She Nods, which we just used for our intro. And it's been 98 days since the SAG strike started, and the AMPTP still sucks. So they gotta fucking figure that shit out. I guess lastly, I'll just say this is like Psycho's one of those movies, because like, I mean, we'll talk about this with Fafnir, but like, even though Fafnir hadn't seen the original Psycho, I think you kind of knew what was happening through most of it for the most part.
Absolutely.
And so like, it's one of those movies that's so ingrained in pop culture that I think it's not really important for us to even talk about the first Psycho. So we're not really going to at all, other than how it relates to these other movies, because you can probably find a 1,000 places that talk about the original Psycho, and I feel like places talking about Psycho 2, 3, 4, and the remake are a little more off the beaten path. So yeah, let me do my first of my many background changes for tonight. I've got a still from the film. There's Robert Loggia from the film. You see that, Edwin? That's a still from the film, yeah. Psycho 2.
Wait, let me see.
Of Robert Loggia.
That's not Psycho 2, man.
Pretty sure it is.
No, that's Innocent Blood, man. That's Innocent Blood, the John Landis picture, man. No. It's Lost Highway. It's fucking Lost Highway. Son of a bitch. It's Lost Highway. You backstabbing motherfucker.
It's actually, you've actually been completely wrong on all of them so far. So
then what the hell is it, Connor?
Well, unless you can figure it out, as far as I'm concerned, it's Psycho 2.
It's Lost Highway, man. Just say it's Lost Highway, man.
So Psycho 2, we can trade back and forth summarizing the movies. What do you want to go first, Edwin, or do you want me to?
Yeah, sure, why not?
You want to go first?
Okay, so
Psycho 2.
yeah, got distracted. Okay, so Psycho 2. It's 22 years later, and Norman Bates is coming home. So we pick off
that from the
22 years
trailer?
later. Yeah, it is. I love that tagline and that little intro. It's 22 years later, and Norman Bates is coming home. I fucking love that. See, that's what good trailer narrators should say all the time. That's a fucking masterpiece, man.
And it was 22 or 23 years after the original when it came out.
Yeah.
It's kind of a proto like Halloween 2018 in certain ways, in the sense of it's this horror movie that like it is now modern day and is what happened to that character. And
I wouldn't be surprised if David Gordon Green that took inspiration from Psycho 2, or it just takes off like years later. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that, because, and I think this is the first horror movie to ever do that, where like 22 years later, it picks off like you said, modern day times, and he's like trying to re-socialize in the world, trying to get back to his hotel and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I think Cycle 2 is amazing because one, I think it's just incredible because one, Norman Bates comes out of the mental hospital and you got the what's her name? Janet Leigh? Is that her name in the movie?
The oh no, Janet Leigh is the actress from the original. Her sister from the original, the like female lead of the second half of the original Psycho, comes back in Psycho 2. Vera Miles.
Yeah, what's her name again? Vera Miles. Yeah, Vera Miles' character comes back trying to sign a petition like, dude, you can't let the murderer out. He killed these people. And the more it goes to the movie, the more we see Norman Bates become like a regular human being, man.
Yeah, but I think part of
asshole.
What are you yelling at somebody on the street?
Nah, some guy just driving off really fast, man. What a brickhead! But no, like I was saying though, but this is like the first time, like in a horror movie where this guy just just fucking did like a mass murder, and he's trying to re-socialize in the world, and he does. You see him try to become a regular human being. You see him trying to get by, but no, he got this fucking lady making it all worse for him. Yeah. But that's why I love about part 2, man, because he literally tries to become a regular human being. But yeah.
Yeah, it's well, because the movie establishes at the beginning that Norman was found originally not guilty by reason of insanity, and so now he has been declared sane by his doctor, who is Robert Loggia. And he comes back to the hotel, which has been being run by scumbag Dennis Franz, and a fun role. I found out that John Gavin, who played Sam Loomis, the male lead of like the second half of the original Psycho, he was going to come back but was unable to after being appointed as U.S. ambassador to Mexico by Ronald Reagan. So really, yeah,
oh, that's cool, man.
But I think it's a great sequel, and I think it's definitely like it's the one I would definitely say like everyone should check out for sure, because it really toys with what you know about the original Psycho, because he is trying, he's very genuinely trying, and it's the whole movie's from his POV, but the movie also plays with you where it's like is he cracking again? Is somebody gaslighting him? If so, who, and like what exactly is going on. I think this one more than
go ahead. Does it do the Hitchcock like camera movement thing where it's sort of like making, that's being utilized to manipulate the way that first one was, where it's so in on like who the character POV is, whether I'm just viewing the outside looking in. Because obviously that was what made the first one so incredible, is how Hitchcock played with everybody with the camera movements.
Yeah.
To me, that was the most effective thing about that.
I think the one thing that I will say about Psycho 2, and especially compared to 3, is that I think the like aesthetic and visuals aren't as strong. I mean, I don't think it looks bad or anything, and I think there's a lot of there's a lot of good stuff, but it's more so just like the script is and the performances are strong and the editing is strong, but it's not quite as like, it's not on that like heightened level of like what Hitchcock was doing. I know that Quentin Tarantino thinks it's Anthony Perkins' best performance. Apparently.
No, 100%. No. He's 100% right, dude. Anthony Perkins is so fucking great in that movie. Like, he may be amazing in the first Psycho, but dude, he delivers more in this movie because he barely does anything in the movie. All he does is show up, kills. In this one, he's really fucking using that character to all his advantage. That's why Psycho 2 is fucking amazing, man.
Yeah, he does get to do a lot more in this one, obviously, because, you know, he's there the whole time and
exactly, man. That's why Psycho 2 is a cinematic masterpiece, man.
I think it. Who's that?
What?
Oh, I thought I heard somebody in the background.
No, just a bunch of UCLA kids.
Tell them to fuck off. Tell them to suck your dick.
Yeah, we'll tell the fuck off. Well, man, hey, man. I'll give him the Glock, bow.
What? What the fuck?
Exactly.
I'd run the other way too if I had that coming at me.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what you thought about the way it's shot comparatively to the first Psycho, Edwin.
I think it's shot so fucking beautifully, man. I love that. There's a lot of great shots in that movie, man. A lot of great shots.
Yeah. I remember more shots from Psycho 3, and I'm ready. I'm done. Like I said, I wanted to not spend as much time on each individual film on this one because we got so many. So I'm good to move on to 3 if you are, Edwin.
No, I am, dude. Psycho 3 tries to play it very differently because I think the way I see the movie is, I think this is the first in the series where it goes on a whole different level, like to be kind of more serious, I think. But I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember being like super like edgy,
like I did.
Yeah. But no, Psycho 3 is great. It's Anthony Perkins directing it.
A directorial debut.
Yeah, that's right. Directorial debut on Psycho 3. More of the day he came back.
That's a different movie, unfortunately.
Well, it's still the same shit to me, man. Evil dies tonight.
Psycho 3. So without spoiling too much of what happens at the end of Psycho 2, but Psycho 2 ends with Norman at a very similar place to where he was in the original Psycho when we met him. It kind of like a lot of Psycho 2 ends up kind of resetting him. And there are differences. You know, he's older, obviously. But for the most part, he's kind of at that same place. And Psycho 3, in a lot of ways, is kind of just Psycho again. Like, what if the first Psycho happened again? But it was 10,000 times sleazier. Jeff Fahey, pictured behind me, in a screen cap from the movie. The Zoom thought I was doing a thumbs up. He's out of control in this one. There's this scene where there's like this he plays this drifter musician who stops at the Bates Motel to work there for a little bit to get some money before moving on, and he hooks up with this woman, and there's this scene where it like cuts back to his hotel room that he's staying in for free, and she's just like nude dancing in front of this wall. I guess within a day he's already put up all of this porn on the wall of his, like, you know, rented hotel room, and there's like the lights on her like dancing, and it's like, that's kind of weird. Like, how are the lights dancing? And then it cuts the reverse shot, and it's Jeff Fahey, and he's nude on this chair, and he's covering his bits are covered because he's holding two different lamps with lampshades like nearest thing, and he's kind of like rotating them and like making the lights dance on this woman and just kind of like staring at her. Like, right. Super.
It's funny because I think this is the first time when Norman Bates interacts with another person that's severely deranged. Yeah. And I mean, Norman Bates is a little deranged, but he's seen it what it looks like at hand. Like, dude, isn't that person just like me like this, but more like fucked up in the head? Like, wow.
Well, and especially Norman Bates's derangement is very compartmentalized, whereas this guy is just like a full-time asshole.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're 100% right. He is. The guy's a piece of shit, man.
He really is. And I think the visuals in this one are a step up from 2. And weirdly, I think his performance in this one is a little distracted, especially compared to like the other ones, because obviously it was his first movie directed.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of really great match cuts that kind of like fuck with your head, like scenes where they'll cut between 2 locations by doing like a staged. This isn't a match cut as much, but like the thing where they'll have like, it's clearly shot on a soundstage, but they'll have like one room that's in one location that we know is not in the same location, and then a character will like turn and they'll be in the other location because they shot it on a stage. My favorite is there's a scene where the first time kind of early in the movie when he's kind of getting tempted to don the wig and the robe and grab a knife, and they've been sort of playing with like the door and the light and stuff, and they do this cut, and you think the first time I watched it, and I think it's intentional, I thought for a second it's like, oh, it's a shot of like the light underneath a door, and then it starts to zoom out and you realize it's actually like a thin strip of light on a knife, essentially.
Cool.
And it's just there's a lot of really cool stuff like that in the movie. I feel like in some ways I wish Psycho 2 had this same sense of like style that Psycho 3 had, because then it really would be like, for me, on par with the original Psycho. But it is still, I think 2 and 3 are definitely worth checking out. Let's see. You have anything else, Edwin, about Psycho 3?
Well, I like the opening shot where the nuns say, "There is no God."
Yeah, it opens.
Yeah, that's fucking right.
It opens over black before, like, after the titles have come up.
Yeah.
There, you just hear this woman go, "There is no God," and then it cuts, and it's
that's a great way to open a fucking movie. Like,
that's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
And they introduce the the Janet Leigh equivalent in this one, and she's this like nun in training, and she's on top of this bell tower in a sequence that I think is kind of supposed to be also referencing Vertigo, to be honest.
Oh yeah, there's a scene where does one of the nuns try to stop her, but then she'll fall into her death, and then it like hits the camera. Is that the shot?
Oh wow.
Oh, I just think the whole sequence being shot in that kind of like the vibe of the bell tower, it almost looked like it could have been shot in the same place or something, which
no, you might be right, honestly.
Which feels like something Perkins would probably do, to be honest.
No, fuck yeah, he would do something like that.
Let's see.
So Psycho 4, man.
Well, the last thing I was going to say about Psycho 3 is just that the one thing I do like on the writing is that I thought this one really kind of goes into like Norman, and it actually leads really well into some thoughts my friend has, my friend Al Vanderclip, about the fourth one. But the third one seemed to really emphasize some of these like emotions that Norman was having, where it's like he kind of wants to just have a normal life. Like really,
yeah, I mean that's why, yeah. That's why in Psycho 2, he tries to be normal. He literally tried to be a normal human being, but society won't let him be normal.
Yeah.
They just want him to think of him as a monster. But in reality, he's not a monster. He's just trying to get by in his life.
Yeah. And there's some interesting sort of, I like your background, Fafnir.
Thank you.
There's just some interesting stuff that they play with it in 3, where the Janet Leigh character in that movie has kind of a romance with him, as it goes on. And
I'm just trying to find a place to sit down right now.
You're a hobo.
But
God.
Let me change my background again.
That's better.
Another screenshot from another Psycho movie, Warren Frost and Psycho 4. I wanted to read my friend Al, or Big Al's from the Crypt, on Letterboxd, that I just thought was like an interesting. Is he said, it gutted me to find out that Perkins was apparently abused by his own mother in a manner very similar to this film. There are all
Crazy.
there are
Well, that's
all
how he got the part, though, didn't he?
there are all sorts of parallels to his own life as a deeply closeted gay man. The marriage that shouldn't have been, the pregnancy, childhood trauma, ridicule, the forbidden urges, the lurking discontent, and the part of yourself you can't destroy no matter how hard you try. And there was something really hard about seeing him, this amazing actor from another era, flipping between stoic and quote-unquote psycho in that big, beautiful turn of the 90s kitchen, not even 60, but only 2 years from dying from age-related complications, playing a character still so deep in denial. And there is something interesting, especially having just watched 2, 3, and 4, like, across so close together, about, like, the weird, there is something that feels very, I don't know, transcendent about what Perkins is doing in those performances that feel very much so reflective on things that must have been true in his own life, from all we can know. But I don't know if Edwin, you want to give a summary of Psycho 4.
So,
The beginning.
Psycho 4, Norman Bates is back. But this time, he's regained society and calls a radio show host and talks about, oh, I love your story, and I'm a serial killer, and I'm going to do it again. Bum, bum, bum. So, Norman Bates is back. It's sadly, this one did not get a theatrical release. Instead, it got a straight to TV release, which is kind of sad because I think it would have done well in theaters if it did got released. But Norman Bates is back. He's living a normal life. He meets a woman.
It's a little strange because,
that,
at the beginning of 2, he gets out because he's been in jail. He's been in, the mental hospital for, 2+ decades. And then 3, spoilers a little bit for 3, ends with him getting, like, arrested for the crimes he committed in 3, essentially. Like, because it's Psycho again, essentially. And then Psycho 4 opens with, like, 5 years later, and he's out again. And that feels like really one of those, like, fool me once sort of situations where, like, it feels like they shouldn't have let him out again.
No, they should have. But yeah, 4 is great. It's also a prequel because he tells his story on how he became what he is.
Yeah,
and it's pretty interesting. It's almost like the basis for the TV show, but obviously this is better. So
it the
young guy,
there's like a frame story on this one. There's kind of 2 stories where the frame story is modern day Norman Bates calling into this call-in show to talk to CCH Pounder, this radio host, and her special guest psychiatrist Warren Frost, about, like, people who kill their mothers, essentially. And then in
that's right.
And then in flashbacks, we're seeing the stories that he's playing, and there's some tension with, like, some modern day stuff as well, like the implication that he might kill again, and the people at the radio station are trying to, like, figure out, like, can we keep, like, talking to him? Do we need to call the cops? Like, what do we need to do? But what were you saying? Were you going to talk about Henry Thomas?
Oh,
You're cutting out. You're in a bad connection zone.
no, all right. How about now?
You're in the exact same
Can you hear me
place.
Oh, shit! I was saying. Let me try something.
You sounded a little robot-y.
Oh. Robity, dobity, shoobity.
What were you saying, though, about... I think you were going to talk about Henry Thomas. Hello?
I think is he on still? All right. Thank you.
Yeah, Henry Thomas plays. Isn't he in E.T.? Is that what I'm thinking of? That
Yeah,
Henry
and he's in a lot of
Thomas?
Mike Flanagan stuff recently.
Who's Mike Flanagan?
He did like the Haunting of Hill House, the Haunting of Bly Manor, stuff for Netflix.
Dude to definitely pay attention to for horror stuff.
What the hell?
What's going on, Edwin?
I can't get a fucking ride out of this joint.
4 is also funny because it features John Landis playing a producer who cares more about ratings than putting people in danger, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, no, the 4th one is good, but it's pretty cheap looking. It doesn't really add a whole lot, to be honest. I think it's good, but there's nothing really standout about it. But it's not bad. I would say, it's not like embarrassing or anything like that. I would say if you're invested at that point, then give it a whirl. But yeah, you got anything about 4 to say, Edwin?
It's all right. It's not great, but it's all right.
Echoing me. I was gonna do a little sidetrack because I know you've seen a little bit of this. Well, 2 things actually. There's the TV show Bates Motel, and then there's the old TV movie Bates Motel, which I haven't seen any of either. I know, Brian, you said you've seen a season of the TV show Bates Motel?
Yeah, I watched the first season when it first came out, so it's been a lot of years since I've done it, but it came out, 2013, it looks like?
Something like that.
But yeah, I did that first season of that one. Wow, I mean, it had 5 seasons? Holy shit.
Yeah. And then I think Edwin's seen... Have you seen that whole show, Edwin?
Nah, I just seen the TV movie.
Oh, okay. So you never even watched the TV show. I thought you liked the TV show.
No. Why would the fuck I watch the TV? I don't watch television.
Well, except for all the television you do watch.
Yeah, the TV show that I want to see.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I thought you had something to say about this. But yeah, do you have anything to say about the TV movie? That's the thing that's behind me. Bud
the
Cort,
TV movie's great.
Jason Bateman.
I kind of wish it picked off because it's supposed to be an anthology series. Like one weird thing happens to another, and also there's a young Jason Bateman in the movie who plays a spirit. It's actually really good.
Yeah, it's not about Norman Bates or his mom. It's just about the Bates Motel and other spooky things that happen there.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it's like just doing an Overlook show.
Yeah, kind of, essentially.
Yeah.
Fafnir, would you like to sum up the Psycho remake?
Oh God. Well, how do I sum up the movie that's just Psycho again, from my understanding?
Yeah, it's Psycho again. What happens in Psycho?
Okay, I don't know, but I'm going to tell you what happens in the remake. So,
sounds like it's going to be the same.
Anne Hesh, which is different from the first one, I think. I don't think she was in the first one.
No, I don't think any of these actors were.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't
specifically.
Think they were born.
I know for a fact, Flea plays a guy working a clerk counter. Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I am positive Flea is not in the Hitchcock one. I am positive he's not in that one.
Well, we'll check that later.
And Vigo's in this one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a shot of him from the movie.
Okay, shit.
No, Vigo's playing. Anne Heche is Janet Leigh. Vigo and Julianne Moore are playing the hero leads of the second half of the movie.
Yeah, the ones who come the second half. Yeah. The duo.
William H. Macy's the detective. Obviously, Norman is played by Vince Vaughn. Robert Forster is the doctor at the end, and the local local sheriff they go see is I think Philip Baker Hall is the actor's name. I'm forgetting. But yeah. It is it's very strange. I mean, how many literal shot for shot remakes are there actually? Because a lot of times people will derisively call something a shot for shot remake, but really what they're just saying is, oh, it's unoriginal, or oh, it follows this other thing too closely. But very rarely is something this much so just the exact same story, the exact same shots, even down to the degree that like certain mannerisms that Vince Vaughn was doing at points seemed to be imitating mannerisms that Anthony Perkins was doing in the original. It's very strange.
I want to give Vince Vaughn a little bit of praise, because it seemed like he was trying.
Yeah,
he was trying, and he did pretty good. It took me a little while to get used to him being in a more serious role after seeing him only in like those mid 2000s comedies. But I mean, he tried.
Yeah, he tried. He did try.
He tried. Yeah.
No one embarrasses themselves in the movie, I would say, on an acting level.
No.
Everyone is acceptable. But also no one is like, I would say no one's great either. No one has like a thing that pulls away from just feeling like a weird kind of imitation. I guess like Viggo and Julianne Moore are probably the ones that are the most different from the original, mostly because they're playing it with like a little more like flavor than just like random guy who's there. Viggo's kind of playing it as like he's got like a cowboy hat and a southern accent and stuff, and Julianne Moore's got like a Walkman and she's always listening to music. But
it just seems to me the whole vibe, everything is why, but why not?
Yeah,
that just seems to be the way it all played out.
100%, because there is something about it that kind of almost works, because it is just such a copy of such a great thing.
Right.
So it kind of almost like by default it kind of has to work in a way, but it is also just it is truly like why you do this. I mean, there's something to be said about the sort of pop art aspect of it, the sort of Andy Warhol kind of thing. But I don't know. It's not really worth checking out, I would say. Edwin has seemingly completely lost connection. Edwin?
I'm still here. I can still hear you.
Okay. Do you have any comments about the Psycho remake?
What?
What do you think about the Psycho?
It's all right. It's whatever. Gus Van Sant tried, but he failed at it miserably.
Yeah, it's strange. There's very few differences, and it is also like, what do these differences even matter? Besides the obvious, besides like the obvious like no duh ones, like it being in color, like certain things being updated, like the prices of things, etc.
Right.
The real three main differences is, one, the movie is just sort of as a whole a little more explicit, both sexually and violence-wise. Not a huge amount, but just, like, I'm pretty sure the original Psycho cuts into Janet Leigh and the guy in that hotel or apartment.
In the bedroom. So that's the opening sequence.
But they're like already done getting dressed, right? Essentially.
Right. Yeah. They're finishing up basically. Yeah.
They're finishing.
There's no actual sexual.
Yeah. In this version, it cuts to Anne Heche and Viggo Mortensen both half naked in bed, not having sex, but like, and you see like Viggo Mortensen's bare ass essentially at one point, in the shower scene, there's like a little more explicit nudity and a little more like explicit like knife going into things. But it's really it's probably like 30 seconds of the movie. The second biggest change is during the scene where Norman spies on Janet Leigh, the Marion Crane character.
Yeah, the
people. Yeah. He's masturbating in this one.
Oh wow, okay.
Like we hear
it kind of takes away from the character, because he doesn't do that in the in the first movie.
Because when he does that in that first movie, it's so much more effective because you're actually finally first seeing how you have a completely different impression of him at that point. Well, because the conversation that happens right before that, obviously with Marion, like that's the first dynamic where you start to see how little Norman is, and then how much he controls at the end of that conversation, where he's like, "Nope, I'm going to take power back and do this thing," and then obviously segue into that peephole where you're then seeing more of what he is, and that I think is when the moment the audience really starts to turn on him, because leading up to that point, you're like, I don't know, this guy's just kind of a pathetic dude, and then that's the moment you realize there's more going on.
And I would also even say that having him explicitly masturbate makes you turn on him even more, because it's like, it makes it goes from being there's something almost like this is a weird way to say to talk about somebody who is voyeuristically looking at a nude woman, but there's something impish about him in the first one where you're like, oh, he just seems like a boy almost at that point, and having him masturbate kind of ruins that impression, I think, you know.
I agree.
But
like you're forcing creepiness, but again, I love that sequence that's happening when the two of them and Marion and Norman are talking back and forth, and you see, especially where the camera angles work, where they're above and below, and when she gets up, she's a lot higher than him, and it takes away his power in that moment. And even though they're not really having an exchange that would do that just that camera angle work is doing that. And then again, he stands up very quickly as she's walking out the door, and the way that's sort of framed and blocked and everything, it's you're building that back and forth with the power dynamic, which I thought was just so much more effective. Where with what you're saying, it's just sort of like, I'm not going to let the audience come to this conclusion with that. I'm going to force you to do that based on this, and that's an obvious, unless you're a crazy person.
Yeah. The other main difference, I guess there were three other, actually, besides what I've already said, differences. One is during certain scenes of violence, there would be these like flash cutaways to like, in one scene it was clouds, and another scene it was like these weird images of like this woman in like a weird mask on a bed or something. You know,
fine, yeah,
kind of, it's what it is. These other probably the weirdest thing is that there's a lot of weird sound design stuff in the movie. They use the theme like in weird places a lot, and in like weird places too. They use it like they don't hold back in using the deet 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 until the shower scene. They use it earlier, I think maybe because it's like, you know, it is, or the one that kind of works is they do a bunch of weird sound design stuff when Robert Forster is explaining everything at the end. Because to be fair, that's like the weakest part of the original Psycho, is because it's like weird. Everybody, we know, like everybody.
Yeah. And just sort of wrap it up at this point. Yeah.
And in this one, they kind of like focus more on like the reactions of the people being told what's going on there.
Got it.
Which is probably the best actual thing in the movie, I think, is that last little, what he does with that sequence. And then I did like, they updated the design of the hotel and the house. I don't like the way the house looks.
I hate it. I hate how it looks too, man. I fucking despise it so much.
But
dude, that's not the Norm Bates house, man. That's just some weird mansion somewhere in Beverly Hills that looks like that.
I did like the new design of the hotel, the motel. I thought it was kind of cool, and it reminded me of like a Rob Zombie movie or something. And which in fact there's a Rob Zombie song on the soundtrack.
No way.
Living Dead Girl.
98 makes sense. As a prime guy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, when we were watching
I was excited about that.
Yeah, Fafnir noticed it like way in the background before I could even tell.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Big RZ fan.
Finally, I got my Uber ride.
Nice. Well,
I'm getting in the car.
Are we ready?
All right, for Edwin.
Well, let's let Edwin get settled, and then we'll play a little game.
Yeah. What'd you say, Connor?
I think it's time. Hold on.
Quick bumper.
Hold on.
No, I refuse to play this.
Hold on.
Why are we holding? Jesus Christ.
Welcome to Connor's Wicked Games, sponsored by Chris Isaac. Every week I like to play a little game like Jigsaw. Today's game is Which is That Psycho? I am going to ask you guys a question that's essentially which psycho, and you're gonna give me, there's 4 answers you can give me: Psycho 2, Psycho 3, Psycho 4, or the remake. Now, however, there is one little twist on this. 2 of these 12 questions, the answer is not one of those 4 options. And if you can get those right, you get 3 points. They're worth extra points, but I'm not going to tell you. It's a little mystery. We'll let Edwin go first.
God.
Edwin, which psycho was shot by a major collaborator of both John Carpenter and Steven Spielberg?
Oh. Hold on. Oh, who is?
You just have to name the movie, which psycho it is.
Oh, Psycho 2. What is Psycho 2 for 300, Alex?
Fafnir?
I'm gonna go Psycho 3. I have no idea.
And Brian?
I'm sticking with Psycho 2 and Edwin. You better know your DPs, bro.
He knew it right. It was. Do you know the name of the DP that I'm talking about, Edwin?
No, I don't.
Dean Cundy, very famous DP, one of my favorites.
Okay, cool. Absolutely.
Fafnir, this one's going to
Awesome.
start with you. Which
Great.
psycho actually filmed in Universal Studios Florida in Orlando?
Oh, I know this one.
Which one was filmed in Orlando?
As opposed to California, which most of them were.
My options are Remake 2, 3, and 4. I don't think it was the remake because it was like super. I'm just gonna say 4.
Brian?
I'm gonna stick with 4 as well.
Edwin?
Yeah, 4.
You're correct. It is 4. Orlando had just opened, in fact, the year before, I think.
Just saying. I had it. Had the answer. I was going to put that out there. Had the answer. I was ready to go, Alex. But man, you let me down, Alex. You let me down, Trebek.
I had the answer. I knew it.
We're rotating. Yeah, Fafnir knew it as well.
I got it right.
Brian?
But you guessed it though.
No, I knew it.
Brian?
Bastard, you goddamn bear.
Which psycho doesn't use any of the original music?
Whoa.
I almost want to say 3 just because of the Anthony Perkins first directorial, and maybe he just went for a different route of it. I'm gonna say 3.
Edwin?
3.
Fafnir?
I'd like points, so I'm gonna say 3.
It's a point for everyone. Brian, you guessed it almost exactly right. He wanted Carter Burwell, the composer for 3, to go in a more modern direction. 2 doesn't use much of the original score. It only uses the deet 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 murder cue. It doesn't use like the other themes. All right. Which psycho had this one's for Edwin. Which psycho had a script that at one point ended with an elaborate musical number set to Barry Manilow's Daybreak on top of the World Trade Center?
That's the remake for sure.
And what?
Which psycho had a script that at one point ended with an elaborate musical number set to Barry Manilow's Daybreak on top of the World Trade Center?
That's wild.
I'm gonna say Psycho 3.
Fafnir?
Let's go with 3.
Brian?
Sure, we'll do 3.
This was one of my riddle ones. This psycho is American Psycho.
Oh shit! Of course, and that makes sense.
Ellis in
I actually thought of it when you were saying it.
We've got one more of these later, so we'll see. We'll see. Ellis adapting his own novel was very bored apparently when he wrote that draft.
Guess so.
Fafnir. Robert Bloch, author of the original Psycho novel, wrote multiple sequels. One was a satire of Hollywood slashers that Universal had a very negative reaction to, causing them to greenlight which Psycho?
Oh my god. It's asking which one.
Which Psycho got
Okay.
greenlit off of a reaction?
Because of.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't think it definitely wasn't. I don't know. 4.
Brian?
I'm gonna say 2.
Edwin?
First one.
Well, that's not one of the options. I mean, you can guess the first Psycho if you want to, if you think it's one of my
Fine.
hits.
Psycho 2.
All right, you got a point from that one. Yeah, it was Robert Bloch wrote his own Psycho 2, which was a satire parody of Hollywood slashers, and Universal really, really fucking hated it, apparently, when it came out. And so they quickly greenlit the movie Psycho 2. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Brian, which Psycho is the only one besides the original that Stephen King likes?
I'm gonna say 2, just based on the hype that you guys gave it, and I don't know, but Stephen King hates and loves weird shit, so that's hard to say. Fuck. Honestly, I wanted to almost say the remake, but that would be just so sad for me to be there saying that. I'd be like, dude, okay, Stephen King, like we know your opinions are weird, but I don't know, 3, maybe say 3. It sounds like it's a different one. Take on everything too.
Edwin?
Part 2.
Fafnir?
I'm gonna say the remake. Me and my boy Stephen King.
I would love that. I really would. I would be like,
you like good movies, okay?
Unfortunately, you're all wrong. It was 4.
You go fuck yourself.
Though I
I
am unclear of his thoughts on the remake. I don't know necessarily. He could like it. So
Probably does.
yeah, he probably thinks it's great.
This is bullshit, Alex. This is a lie. This is the setup.
Edwin?
You lie to us. I want points.
Edwin, which Psycho was recut into a mashup with the original by Steven Soderbergh?
Wait, what?
Which Psycho was recut into a mashup with the original by Steven Soderbergh?
Psycho 3.
Fafnir?
I don't know. Psycho 3.
Brian?
I'll do Psycho 3. I'll join in.
It was the remake.
You go to hell.
He called it Psychos.
Oh, okay.
Connor.
Actually, that makes a ton of sense. A mashup. Why, of course, that would be the dude.
Yeah.
Connor, these are lies. These are setups. I don't like these games. These games are horrible. These games are set up. I refuse to cooperate in your evil ways, Connor.
He's reminding you every week. These are wicked games. These aren't fun games. These aren't funny, happy games.
Next time you want, Edwin, I've said it. I think I told it to you last week. If you want a different question, let me know, and I'll give you an Edwin specific question.
That's what I want to hear, Connor. That's what I fucking hear.
Fafnir, which Psycho features Anthony Perkins' son, Oz?
This is probably one of your little riddle questions, but I'm gonna say the remake.
Brian?
I'm gonna say Psycho 4.
Edwin?
I'm gonna say Psycho 3, Alex, and I better get a fucking point.
Nobody gets a point. It was 2. He appears as young Norman.
You're demon, Alex. These were lies. These was a setup, man.
I wasn't really sure of age differences, to be honest with you.
Brian, he directed he's like a director now. He does like the Black Coat's Daughter and a bunch of stuff. Oz Perkins.
Oh wow, really? Oh cool.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Brian, which Psycho features America's sweetheart and star of Red Letter Media, Rich Evans?
I'm gonna say remake. Wait. That's. I think that seems to me like a little tricky. I think you're I think it's a trick question.
Which you can still the answer. I'll say
Can
this.
Can I actually say a Psycho name? Because it's the greatest Psycho movie ever. I think is next to Psycho, the original.
Sure.
That's a film called Psycho Gorman.
That is certainly a valid guess, Edwin.
American Psycho 2.
Fafnir.
I'm going with the remake, man.
Brian, you got 3 points from that mamma jamma. That is, in fact, Psycho Gorman. Rich Evans is the voice of Death Trapper. It also features the voice of one of the guys from the Flophouse. One of my favorite.
That was one of our Monday
podcasts.
movies, and I've been marking out to that one ever since. It was one of our best watches in the Monday group. So
yeah, it's great. It's really fun.
Oh, yeah.
Edwin. Last round, circle around. Which Psycho was nominated for a Razzie and a Saturn Award for the same thing?
Psycho 3.
Fafnir?
Tried and true. I got to go with my remake answer.
Brian?
I'm going to go with Edwin and go with Psycho 3.
Fafnir. It goes to you. Anne Heche was nominated for her performance.
That's right. That's right. She got it that year, for sure.
That's
right.
Easy.
Change of bullshit, Alex.
2 more. Fafnir, which Psycho was written by the guy who co-wrote the Fly remake with David Cronenberg?
What the hell?
Oh, man. I really want to answer remake again, but I don't think it's remake. The Fly remake, is that the one with Goldblum?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Is that like late 80s?
That would be helping too much.
I don't know. I'm going to say 4.
Brian?
Yeah, I'll hit 4. I'm not sure.
Edwin?
I feel like I'm mad about it.
3.
You got it, Edwin. It was 3.
Fuck. Oh, y'all.
And
was it? Who was it? The screenwriter of the Fly?
No, it's Charles Edward Pogue. He co-wrote the Fly remake with David Cronenberg, and he was going to do 4 with Perkins, but Universal apparently hated their pitch for 4, and so ended up doing what ended up being 4. And then last one, Brian. Which Psycho did Patricia Hitchcock say her father would be flattered by?
So hard not knowing these movies, but maybe Psycho 2. I don't know.
Edwin?
Remake.
Fafnir?
Yep. I was going to say the remake. That's what they would be most proud of. Absolutely.
So it was true. She specifically said he would be flattered by the remake, even though she did also say nice things about some of the others as well, but specifically that he would be flattered. So Fafnir, your first showing, you get a bronze medal. Edwin, silver medal. Brian, you got the gold. That Psycho Gorman one put you over the top.
I put me in.
You cracked my code.
I feel like you got that one for me, though. Like, honestly, if anything else is different, it just, that hit me right away.
Edwin, I'm guessing you don't have anything to show off because, you're in a car?
Yeah. It'd be weird if I pulled my rentals out.
So we're going to skip over your segment and do another segment that I want to do. Frasier time.
Oh my god!
And
I'm gonna before you get into this one, I'm probably gonna dip out right now.
Okay, cool.
Time wise, everything.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a little bit, and good to see you all.
Cool. See you soon, Brian. The new Frasier's out, and I like the first two episodes. It was it's not great. I wouldn't even say it's very good, but it's good. And for a sitcom, I mean, like every sitcom has like growing pains, No sitcom is like at its best in its first couple episodes. So I'm excited to see see where it goes. And Kelsey Grammer's great. I like his buddy Alan. He's got his sparring partner in this one instead of Niles is this guy Alan, who's like an older British professor at Harvard who Frasier went to Cambridge with, and he's just really lazy and doesn't want to teach any of his classes. And he's apparently from a bunch of British sitcoms, and there's a lady who's from like some Canadian sitcom, Letterkenny. I was actually hoping to mention that before Brian left because I know he likes Letterkenny, but it's good. It's a good show.
Letterkenny's a good show. I was hoping that Frasier, the new one, would be at least good.
Yeah.
I was hoping it wouldn't be bad because I am a fan of the original series.
Yeah, it's got good. Yeah, I mean, it's not great or anything. It's not like at the level of the best of Frasier, but that's like not super surprising to be honest, because that's like every sitcom is sort of like that, I think.
But all I really wanted out of this little, however long they're gonna do it, I doubt they're gonna go for like more than maybe the one season.
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah, well, I guess it would just depend on how well it does.
I don't see it doing extremely well. Like you said, it's just kind of good, and a lot of people don't like some of the changes, the original fans at least. I mean, there's not a lot you can do, and some of your actors just die, and then some of them don't want to come back.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
kind of
exactly.
just have to work with what you have.
Yeah, no, and
as long as they have like a few references that we can pick up on and be like, remember the thing from the other thing.
Well, I don't know if you know who the main characters are in this new one, Fafnir. But because obviously there's Frasier, there's his son Freddie, who is featured quite a bit on the original. But there's also his nephew David, who is the kid that was born to Niles and Daphne at the end of Frasier. And so he has a lot of especially his father's mannerisms. And then there's the two colleagues that I kind of mentioned a second ago at the Harvard, and then there's this woman that Freddie is sort of involved with, so to speak, though they're not really dating. But I don't want to say too much to ruin some stuff that happens in the first episode.
Thank you.
But there's some good runners. One of my probably one of the best is that there's this runner where Eve, that last character I mentioned, she is a new baby, and she can't get it to sleep, and Frasier's voice, is putting it to sleep whenever he's talking around her, and she starts becoming kind of desperate for him to talk around the baby. And he starts to interpret it as her being desperate for him, like being into like old Frasier.
Classic Frasier.
That's a classic Frasier misunderstanding.
It really is. I'm glad it's there. That's what he would have. That's how he would have interpreted it.
Yeah, exactly. And like the second episode kind of does like an inverse on the chair stuff from the original with the dad. Where it's about Freddie and Frasier moving in together, and Freddie wanting to put something that shows his identity. And there's some good stuff in the first episode, kind of mourning John Mahoney, which I thought was nice. And yeah, it's good. I'm excited to see more of my favorite Freudian psychologist back in Beantown, baby.
I thought you were gonna say your favorite money playing actor.
That too, though I really like Edge also.
Edge is good.
Edge is good.
And
I guess to finish up the show, anything else? I was gonna shout out this game Royal Limited I got by Scott Ames. I think Button Shy is the publisher. It's like a little. You can see just how small it is. It's like a little packet of cards. It's like a little fun game you can play by yourself. This like puzzle game. I guess they make a bunch of these, but I got this recently and it's been really fun. You're playing like a conductor trying to put passengers on a train in time. Yeah, Fafnir, Edwin, anything you guys have been up to you want to shout out? Edwin, you sound
Tell
like
us how
a
your room
dial-up
feel.
modem.
It's a bad handshake.
Yeah.
Well, while he's figuring that out, I'm ready for the King of the Hill reboot.
Oh, nice. They're doing that too. Hell yeah.
It's coming soon. I think it's like they're like halfway done with the first season back. I keep getting Google news articles fed to me about this damn show. I want to stop seeing about. I just wanted to be out already, but I'm excited for it.
Hell yeah. Nice. Yeah. I don't. Do you know when it's supposed to come out, or have they not announced it yet?
I don't know if they've announced a date. I just know it's like in production.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate about all the people that have passed between now and when the show ended. With Luann being gone, that's like a whole character, and then Dale pretty recently. I forget his real name, but the Dale character.
Are we still rolling?
Yep. We're back.
Oh, well, what were you saying beforehand? I'm honestly out right now.
Just if you had anything you wanted to talk about, but I think we should wrap up the show.
Yeah. Vista and Egyptian coming in from mine.
Yep. The Egyptian's back, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, opening up with the killer.
Which we're going to do an episode about in a couple, like 3 or 4 weeks or something.
Cool.
Sounds like a movie.
Yeah.
Cool.
New David Fincher movie about assassin. But I just wanted to say thank you to Brian, who was here a minute ago, Brian Robert, for composing our outro. I want to say, please check us out on social media, TikTok and Insta at CinemaCurse666. Please like and share this with your friends, family, clergy. If you enjoy this and want to see more of it. Are you intentionally trying to make an O face?
Yeah, a pog.
Yeah, next week for Halloween, it's the Haunted Mansion special. Owen Wilson, Lakeith Stanfield. We're finally doing it. Psych. That joke never gets old. We're actually doing the Full Moon Halloween special, where we're going to talk about Puppet Master and Doll Man versus Demonic Toys. Movies that are arguably just as successful as the Haunted Mansion remake. But yeah. Edwin, we're saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.
Oh, bye.
Goodbye,
If I had
citizens.
hands, I'd be waving them.